Wings of truth. I step into the light, feel the call in my chest. Spiral breath rising, now I know I'm blessed. Dragging in my back, yeah, I walk with the flame.
No mai, haere mai te whānau. Welcome to the Moo podcast. And today we have a special guest, Jacqui Knight from WA, who's had so many interdimensional experiences. And I got the pleasure of meeting Jacqui 16 months ago over in WA with our Blue Diamond journey when we were anchoring the White Rainbow there. We had so many synchronicities happening, so many deep conversations around the alignments taking place. And this beautiful sister has got so much to share right now for humanity, for the various different codings that have been coming through, and especially with the pulse of Moo Australia, Te Whenua o Te Moemoeā, and particularly on the western coast. So she's a channel, numerologist, and breath worker, and I've been doing a lot of work with the stars and the systems and the places in between, the liminal realm and the astral realm. So over to you now, beautiful sister. We'd love to hear your sharing and your story. Kia ora.
Thanks, T. Thanks. Hello. I'm Jacqui, and nicknamed Wacky Jacqui when I was little because I was different. Some would say black sheep of the family, but yeah, I was different, definitely different. Lonely path when you don't, your energy is totally different to those around you, but now I honor that. Now I love that part of me. At the time it wasn't an easy path at all. So I was born on the 144 1972, the 144 14th of April, and I'm an Aries, so I've been walking the path in the last 8 years of Chiron in Aries, healing the wounded I am, which I definitely needed for sure, because I was born with pneumonia, so therefore I had grief, because any lung breath problems is all grief. It's all grief from past lives that you've brought into this life to heal those ancestral woundings. So I was brought up in a little country town in Western Australia, out in the wheat belt, and at the age of I was always very angry as a kid and really sad. Never worked out why, and so much fury, angry. Never knew why. It was just like, and I never questioned it. I just thought, oh well, that's me, that's how I am. And then at 16, I experienced a car accident and got thrown out of a car doing 120, and we were about 5 kilometres from our home, and hit the ground doing 120 and impaled the ground, and my pelvis literally split apart, dilated 7 centimetres, squashed many vertebrae, especially the lower lumbar, and I broke that many bones that the marrow got into my bloodstream and clogged my lungs. They call it a fat embolism, and I had 4 hours to live. And my mum was there and I was laying there and there were no sounds. I was like, oh, there's no monitors or anything happening. And I was like, oh, this is quiet. And then I had my eyes shut and I thought, something's wetting me. Like, what's wetting me? I'm like, inside, that doesn't make sense, like I was just like, what's wetting me? And I opened my eyes and there's the priest doing the last rites with holy water. And I saw him and I looked at my mum and I had hold of her hand. She had my hand. And I said, oh, I'm not going anywhere, Mum. It's all right. I'm here. I'm just really tired. But in that time that I spoke with spirit, they said, it's not your time. You can't be here. And you're too important. I was like, oh, okay. Totally oblivious, just sort of told me I'd be 6 months in hospital, wanted to put rods through my pelvis and all sorts of stuff. And they put me in like one of these tractions that wraps around your body, and then you've got bags that keep you pulling your body together. Literally, I had to lie flat. So I had to lie flat. And they said it takes 6 months. Well, me being an Aries and a warrior, I just went, oh, that's not going to happen. So they also told me, like, I had four or five doctors there, like I woke up because in between having the accident and actually getting to some help, I had to go in a ambulance for a couple of hours to a place called Narrogin. That was the closest sort of decent hospital. And I woke up at one stage and I was lying there, and there were these four doctors standing sort of, 5 meters away from the bed, but I had my legs up and everything. So, yeah, like, ooh. I was like, oh my God. Like, I was so ashamed and so, like, vulnerable and so exposed. Like, so I put my legs down and I couldn't say anything. I had no energy to say anything or complain or whatever. But anyway, next minute I woke up and I was on the aeroplane getting flown to Perth. And then I woke up in the ambulance going over the Narrows Bridge. And then I woke up and saw the roof of Royal Perth Hospital. Then the next time I woke up, I threw up over this matron. She had this white uniform on with a little red lapel. And I just threw up all this blood. So, and because I had to lie flat, I was so appalled. Like, this poor lady was just covered in this coagulated dark purple. Just, you'd have to throw it out for sure. So I was like, okay. Then next minute I'm in an ICU with this massive big elephant trunk suction thing forcing oxygen in my body. And my sister-in-law at one stage, she come to visit, and she saw my extremities before she even saw me and actually said hello. She saw my hands and my feet, and they were all gnarly and purple because I was dying. So I got down to 22% oxygen in my blood. And that's when they said to Mum, she's got 4 hours to live. So, whatever you need to do, you need to do. And yeah, my sister-in-law fainted when she saw my feet and my arms. All my extremities were purple. And then I had the experience with God, Yeshua, or Creator, Mother, Father, God, and basically said, it's not your time, you're too important. And I thought, cool, okay. So then it was just a path of healing and walking forward. And the doctors said to me, they said, oh, you won't be able to walk. You might have to be in a wheelchair by the time you're 50. You'll definitely have to have a hip replacement, like all this stuff. And I just went, excuse me, I'm doing it my way. My soul knows. So up yours. I'm doing it my way. So yeah, so I've been highly independent and probably more masculine than feminine in my path, really. I sort of really pulled in that warrior male energy that I had, and really didn't have a lot of soft, cuddly gentleness about me, which was applicable for the time. Like, if you wanted to survive and you were a single, very highly independent, own money, own path, that's what you did. So yeah, I walked the path for 33 years, would you believe? And it wasn't an easy path. It was a lot of pain. The sexual side of things, well, I was a virgin when I was 16, so the whole sex thing was really a mystery to me. I didn't really know whether anything actually worked down there, probably. And doctors don't know, like, honestly. They don't even know about the women's anatomy and never really wanted to know, really. So I never trusted doctors. Went to a lot of therapists that were absolutely useless. A lot of them hurt me more than healed me. So I never trusted any of them. Never took any painkillers or anything like that, though I tell you, some of the period pain and just excruciating, like whole body shakes. You have to take some pretty bomber tablets to knock yourself out for a day or so before you can walk again, because the inflammation was just hideous. Like, yeah, it was literally under your boobs to your thighs. Just everything just was swollen and just pulsated in pain. And yeah, it was just hideous. Just shaking in pain. It was just crazy. So yeah, I got to 47, and at that stage I had a cleaning business. I still have it. I still clean. And um I I was cleaning a toilet and I was done. I was so done. I was like 47 years old, and what the fuck am I doing here? Then, 6 months later, doom, spirit touches me and literally drains all the toxins and everything out of my body. I have this awakening sitting on the toilet, just like so much coming out here and then out the back end. And it's just like, whoa. And I'm box breathing on the toilet to just slow my heart down, because it was just like defibrillating. It was crazy. And then 5 days of real spiritual, crazy dreams and experiences. Some of them were timelines of the nefarious and what they were planning on doing. And that was just hideous stuff. And then some of it was, I went to different dimensions through wormholes and saw spirit going through the wormhole with all these colors and all these mathematical equations and spirit as orbs. And I look back, I sort of go down to this, what you could call Earth, but there was no sun. It was like a lava. It looked like lava. It was round, looked like lava burning. And then on the top, like had like a North Pole, and it looked like a Christmas cake with the icing on the top. I go down to this dimension, and I go there, and I'm hearing and I'm seeing, and it's just brimstone and fire and fighting and swords and screaming, and the pain and the wrath was just horrible. And I woke up because I couldn't, I got so upset hearing it and seeing it that I said to spirit, I can't, I can see, but I can't hear. One or the other. Like I need one or the other. I can't do both. It's just too much. So anyway, I got up and I made a poultice out of hemp balm and some strepsils and clogged my ears and went back to sleep. And of course, the dream continued. I pick up these souls and I take them, and I wake up, and the last vision I had was what the Catholic call purgatory. And I wake up from the dream, and I'm sitting there and I'm just shaking, thinking, oh my God, I'm in purgatory. I didn't realize that it was spirit showing me that those souls went to purgatory. And purgatory is like it's like the space between God judging you in whether you're in the book of life or if you're in the book of the dead, basically. So I was like, oh, okay. So I got my mum's Bible out, because I really didn't have anyone. I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have anyone. I sounded loopy. I sounded off my trolley.
And how old were you at that stage, hun?
I was 48.
Okay, so that's quite recent. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's good.
yeah. I'm 54 now. So yeah, I was 48, so 6 years ago. Um, yeah, 2020, March 2020. Yeah.
Kia ora.
And then the following after that, what activated me was an acupuncturist, because I'd never had acupuncture. Like the whole 33 years of trying to heal, I used to say to myself, oh, I never tried acupuncture. So I thought, I was so unwell in January of 2020. We were up in Kalbarri holiday, and I just couldn't walk along the beach. I just couldn't do anything. It was so much pain. And so I decided, bugger it, I'm just going to go to an acupuncturist. And that's what activated me, I think, into having the spiritual awakening in the March, because I went to her twice in the February. And I think that's what cleared out enough nodals and enough acupuncture points to get something flowing. because it was all blocked. Imagine getting thrown on the ground on your ass, and just everything was solidified too after 33 years. Not a lot of fascia was working around all of that hip area. It was all pretty blocked and cold. There wasn't a lot of blood going in there, not a lot of chi happening at all.
And that was like your NDE, and you basically
Yes.
healed yourself from that, right?
Yeah,
The NDE.
yeah. For a year and a half. So in the November of 2019, I had this really bad like back shoulder pain, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? This is just horrible. And I was looking online, and I couldn't work out what was going on. So I'm looking on spiritual sites. It's the first time I'd sort of gone into that sort of area. And there was a lot of love and light, a lot of hippie, a lot of stuff. And then this chick had written, if you have back pain, especially shoulder pain in your back, you are growing your etheric angelic wings. And I was like, ah, found it, found it. So yeah, for the next year and a half after my awakening on the March of 2020 until the June of 21, I was literally everything that I was seeing in the world, like spirit was showing me exactly who was in control, exactly what was going on, and I couldn't make nothing of it. Like my phone was showing me video clips of these extraterrestrial beings, lizard type people in night vision goggles, and it's split second, like 3 seconds. Pick up my phone and there it is. I'm not doing anything to actually get that. That's on my phone, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that? Like, I have no idea. Excuse the language, but hey, that's me. Don't like it. See ya. Anyway, so I was getting all these, and then another time I got onto my phone and there was this podcast of these two people and they were talking to each other about tunnels, and I'm like, what the hell's this stuff going on about? Like, I had no idea, didn't not know anything, like just didn't. So I held all this stuff in and all of these horrible dreams of what the nefarious were planning on doing to humanity, and it was just nasty, very nasty. Well, there's no words for it really, no words for it. But and then I held on to all of that. Like I just didn't know anyone that could. I just didn't know anyone that I could connect with. Just like I was speaking with my husband and my kids, and I spun them right out. Like they were looking at me and my family. They all sort of just went, "Wow, she's lost it. She's loopy. She needs to go to psychiatric help." You know, and yeah, gaslit me a lot. And so I just stood on my truth. I refused to be anyone's maid anymore. I refused to be the servant. They all complained in the kitchen that I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do. And I was like, well, if you don't want me here, I'll just go back my bags, eh? I'll see you later. Like, like what the hell? Just subliminal abuse. It's like,
So who actually assisted you in the end? Did
well,
you?
it wasn't until the November of 21. Well, in the June of 21, after feeling all this heavy, heavy, heavy energy, and what actually kept me going was the Holy Spirit. Literally, all the psalms and the hymns that I know in church, I would sing on repeat like a reel in my head. So then nothing could come in. And I covered myself with the Holy Spirit the whole time. And I would say prayers and sing Amazing Grace and just over and over and over and over and over for like 18 months at least. Like just did that 24/7.
That was a pretty crazy time, though, and it was
Ah,
really, everyone had gone a little bit loopy and insane
yep,
over that period, right? The whole
yep.
collective was
Oh yeah,
really
yeah. People were just
slammed.
like, what is going on? You'd call it. Mm. So I was just like, okay, this is crazy. So I was trying to show my husband what I was experiencing, and he would come home and he'd go, "Oh, the radio said this today, and the news said this, and this is what the paper says." And I said, "Well, you know what?" I said, "This connect to this, this, and this. You watch." And he'd look at me, and then 2 weeks later he'd go, "You're right. It happened like this, and this." I said, "Yeah, I told you." So basically, that's how I showed him what was going on because he had no idea, and he didn't trust where I was at because, you know, we've all been programmed to say, well, all of those things are just fantastical and you've lost the plot and, you know, you need medical assistance and all that sort of stuff. So I showed him the way. And then in the June of 21, this heaviness was just attack. It was like spirit attack. And I didn't know what it was at the time. And then I was saying the Holy Spirit all the time, singing, falling asleep to saying the Lord's Prayer and this one night, it was a Sunday night, it was so heavy and I was drowning myself because it was like, Jacqui, this is all in your mind. It's okay. You're here. So I would go out in nature and I'd stand out in the veranda because I live on a little country farm. So I'm standing on and I'd stand in nature and just go, you are protected. Like, this is not here. This is not in this reality that you're not looking at this. Like, you are protected. So that's what grounded me and the singing to spirit. And then the next morning I wake up and it was crazy. There was no weight. It was like I'd had this celebration with my spirit family. And like that's when my wings graduated and I realized, and I woke up totally at peace, totally secure, totally grounded, just like it was such a relief. Even though I still had my own, you know, your ego talking to you, saying all sorts of stuff, I didn't have that weight. So it was, they didn't want me awake. That's the reason why they threw me up. That's the reason why that accident happened. But also that accident happened because I had the Christ Sophia codes. I hold the 13, the codes in me. And that had to be grounded into earth. And that was why I was thrown out of the car and impaled, because those codes had to go into Mother Gaia. She needed the codes. And I had to walk here and be here to hold the codes as a light being. So, yeah, the prior to that, I had, I used to sit in a lot of victim because it was like, well, what did I do? I didn't know my mission. I didn't know I was holding codes. I had no fucking idea. I was just totally oblivious. I was very asleep. And I didn't know until I was around 30. And I went, my grandmother, I was very close to my grandmother. She passed away when I was 18. So she knew what I was here for. She knew all about my life, what had happened to me, what path I was walking. And she was guiding me. But she didn't come in until I was about 30. And I went to my first medium reading. And it was a really spiritual place called Perongrups, which is about 22 k's from where I live. A very ancient rock formation. Actually got elephants, literally. You can see the elephants in the rock formation. Mother elephant with her daughter. Like, it's beautiful. Yeah. And then on the other side of that is the Sterling Ranges and the sleeping lady that sleeps along there. Like, yeah. This is beautiful. So anyway, I forgot what I was saying.
About the mediumship that you had
Oh,
done.
I went to her. All right. So she's sitting there. And in that time, there was a group of ladies in where I live that formed together and they asked me to come to their circle they used to do. And this medium used to come down from Perth. Her name was Barb. And I'd been to a couple of them. Just sitting with them. I wasn't really having a one-on-one with her. But anyway, we were out at the Perongrups and she was having a one-on-one and I'm looking and she's going, oh, she goes, Jacqui, your grandmother's here. I went, oh, hi, Grandma. And she looks at me and she says, she's really sorry for turning a blind eye. And I was like, hmm. And I thought, oh, she's talking about my uncle. And I thought, well, he didn't get me. Like, and I look at this one. She looks at me straight in the eye and she just says, yes, he did. And I was like, what? When? Like, when did that happen? And what happened? And who was looking after me and what was going on? And so I just had all these questions and I was just like, oh, just didn't, just spun out really. I was just like, okay, so this is because he had a from the stories in my family, he had a affinity with the young girls and his own daughter as well, and she doesn't remember when it didn't happen. So um, there I have five sisters, and yeah, he he there's at least three of them that I think I don't know what he did, but he's definitely he definitely went that way, so to speak. So I was spun out. I didn't understand or when or what, and I just thought, oh yeah, okay, you know, just another thing, another attack on my pelvis, another attack on my root chakra, you know, like, and I'd sit in the victimhood of what did I do? Like, what did I do to deserve this? Like, seriously, I've spent 30 odd years of chronic pain. At that stage, it was 15 years of chronic pain and you know, just just hideous pain. And I just thought, wow, I must have done something really bad karmically to have to carry this. Like, what the fuck? So then about a couple of years later, I had this dream and I was like, it was dark and I'm holding onto these bars and I had my face up to the bars and I'm like, I'm in jail. What the fuck's this? Didn't think anything of it. Just thought, okay, whatever, you know, don't know what you're showing me here, but I'm in jail. All right. You know, and sort of likened it to that cave, you know, hidden and captured and see no evil, speak no evil, and hear no evil sort of concept of suppression. So then about, I met my husband around about that age. Yeah, and ended up having children, which I was told I couldn't carry or have, or so they were miraculous to me. I was so over the moon in having children. My husband actually had a daughter prior, and she was a year old when we got together, and she was like the cherry on top. I got the cake and I got cherry as well. Like it was such a blessing because I just thought, you know, if I can't have children on my own, I can share my love with our daughter. Like, you know, and she was only a year. She was 10 months old when we got together. So
How
that was just
beautiful.
like, yeah, it
How
was just
many
like
children did you have?
I ended up having two of my own. They're both 21 and 19, nearly 20.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had two kids, and yeah, both of them were just miraculous, amazing, just like I still think about it now and think, wow, you're such a hot woman. Just like, you go, girl. Just, you know, like being told you can't do what you can't do and then just totally obliterating everything and just walking your own path and standing your own light. I had to, I had to, because it was my soul. It was me. It was my authentic self. I had to stand in my light and be who I am and be that warrior at times, but also be that mother and that beauty and that affection and the love.
So, at what point did you start receiving all your messaging and the transmissions that you have been sharing with me recently?
I just follow my heart. So through the whole not knowing anything until 2021 of November, I hooked up with some healers down in Albany and Reiki, acupuncture, and emotion codes, body work, structural body work. So he helped me. He restructured my body with his elbow, literally in your back with his elbow and his hands, and that was pretty traumatic, but I had to move all of that stuck. It was just numb
It
and
would have been
solid.
calcified too.
Oh, it was just hideous. Like, honestly, it was screaming, bawling, and literally shaking yourself off the table in pain. Like, I used to I'd call in the angels and God, Yeshua, all the ascended masters. I call them all in and just say, please help me get through this session. Like, just so much pain, so much pain. And 4.5 years of that, every 2 weeks, I would walk into that with so much strength and just, I've got to do this. I've got to get this out of my body. I've got to heal all of this.
What techniques was he using? Was it Alexander techniques?
No, he calls it body structural work.
Okay.
So he works with the fascia, which is the spirit connection, like that's your spirit body. And he literally worked with the fascia and reformed the muscles and the bone and literally structured it, moving the bone back into its precise formation, like its perfect blueprint formation. But then I was also calling in the Holy Spirit to reform my body back to my birth body, my pure body, my birth body that I had when I was born. So yeah, it was a collective of healers here where I live that I found that they just spoke to me, and I vibrated to that, to their energy, and just walked, and I would just feel into it, feel into all of it, because you got to feel it to heal it.
Aye.
So I just felt into it, no matter how excruciatingly painful it was. I just feel into it. The spirit side of things and the energy that I flow with just comes. It just comes because I've always been interested, like I've always read tarot. I started reading tarot at 30, and I bought a mythological book to show me the definitions, and I also bought a Rider-Waite book at that time. But and since then I've sort of just done it for myself, because it's not something that you tell everyone, you know. So it was just something that I did myself, and I learnt numerology through that as well. And symbolism was really, really significant. And so on the cards as well. And because I could learn the stories from mythology of each card, I also learnt the symbolism behind that as well. And then I what really so in the Western astrology, I'm Aries moon and Aries sun with a Gemini rising, which is really cool because tomorrow is new moon in Gemini.
Of
So
course it
that's
is.
really pivotal
Big,
today.
big
And today's
energy.
13th. So today's Sophia. Today's
Mm.
Women's Day, feminine. Yeah. So that's really pivotal. Um, but it wasn't until I started on my journey of trying to heal my wounding from my uncle. I went to a shaman here down in Denmark, and I explained to him that I had these sexual hang-ups, didn't understand why I couldn't enjoy that pleasure, and I was really sad for my husband and I to not be able to share and enjoy that, because it was just really painful. And it was a cycle of pain. It wasn't a cycle of pleasure. It was just a cycle of pain. You would come together intimately, and then 2 days later you would suffer the inflammation, and then 2 days later you just do it again. So it just became this cycle of pain for me. So I went to see him in 2017 and explained to him, I need to know what happened to me. Like, I don't really know. I want to know where or when or what my uncle did, but I want to know what he actually did to me. I don't care where or when or any of that. And he's passed, so God's his judge. He'll be in judgment there, whatever that realm is. But some people don't believe in, heaven and hell and all that sort of stuff, which it is a construct in your head anyway. Heaven is your head, hell is your heel. So, I get that. So I asked him, he said, oh, there's a spiritual process you can do. And he said, you use the Kundalini. And he said, I'll throw it into your body. Well, use your Kundalini and I'll bring it down. And if it pokes out of your yoni and it's all smooth and it's flowing, He said, everything's kosher. You're all good. You weren't, uh, raped,
Interfered with,
whatever you want to
penetrated.
call it, you know? So, um, so he did that and it stopped, of course. And I just went, okay. So he did. He did the deed. I was like, okay, yep, all right. I wasn't so sad about it, really. It was just a matter of fact. You know what I mean? Like, I suppose I numbed myself to it, really, and just thought, okay, just acceptance, all right. And then, and then 2020 happened, have the awakening, and then 2021, I have my spiritual wings, and then I'm seeing this body structural work and doing the acupuncture. And come 2023, September of 2023, I'm taking my boy to school and he starts talking about the babies and what they've been doing. If you've got any idea what I'm talking about, you know. If you know, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I just thought, and I just started crying. I just started crying. And he said to me, Mum, you need to heal that. And I'm like, yes, son, I do need to heal that. And that day I went to a friend, my best friend that lives in Albany, and I just howled because I'd seen the pattern. I saw the pattern of what he'd done to me, but I saw the pattern of how it leached into my life, into my relationships, into how I reacted, all my behavioral patterns. I just saw it all. And so I just, it was like a real deep guttural cry and just sort of broke down and yeah, and at that time I actually felt some pain lift from my heart. And I thought, you're on the right track here, girl. Just keep going, keep going. So then I just had this, because you have that drive, you got to do it. It's with you 24/7. Have to. And you got that push to just keep going. So in the November, December, I said to myself, you need to go and get some healing. So I went to Bali and I was going to this retreat from this chick in England that was running a retreat there. And I thought, it was going to be amazing, but the retreat wasn't so much amazing. It was the chicks that I met there that helped me do some healing. And one chick, she was amazing. She was a little pocket rocket, size 8. She's tiny. She's had 4 babies. It's like, oh my God, you're just amazing. She held space with another friend from America, and we literally pulled the energy out of my body, just pulled the former life that I'd had previously. And I did a life path regression therapy with a shaman, the same shaman. And my grandmother turned up and they went into the cave and they went into that world and experienced that world. And I was a little girl in India. My name was Mayana. And I was 5. And yeah, the Maya indication of my name was very pivotal. That's very pivotal to my life.
Well, Maya's also the
Yes.
illusion, but it's also the planet.
But
The
also
Mayans.
she's the oldest sister of Pallades.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. That's
Yeah.
that's
Which I had
Matariki.
that download only a month ago. I didn't
Yeah.
know Maya was Maia was she. I didn't know she was a sister. I didn't know that until a month ago. And that download was like crying. I was crying when I had that download because my mum's second name was Maida. So it was an energy stream that was in, you know, another synchronicity. So anyway, I was a little girl and I was sold to a sheik by my parents at a market when I was 5. I was wearing a little yellow dress, and my whole life was enslaved like Cinderella. So I serviced the men in the family. I serviced the male brothers or sisters. I mean brothers and fathers and uncles and whatever. And I was a maid for the family. And I passed away in Calcutta when I was about 85. Yeah, this was in the 1800s. So I was like, oh, well, I understand why that energy is so pivotal in my life now. But also the crazy thing was, um, when I had that healing in Bali, she said there's Yeshua was here, and so was Ganesh and Mary and the pink Ray. But there was also, I saw a vision of my Syrian self, and there was also a sigil that came down with that. And it just came through, and she pulled all the energy out of my uncle and what he had done and literally pulled that out. But she also pulled out the energy of the little girl, Mayana, pulled all that energy out. And at the end of the session, she said, well, what do you want to do with Mayana? And I said, send her back to her mum and dad and let her have that life that she always thought that she would have, her whole life of all that horribleness. The wildest thing before that happened was in the November, I'm sitting on the bed with my daughter, and we're both looking at each other, and she's got the window behind her, and I'm sitting on the end of the bed. And next minute I see this, it's really weird. It's like you see the sheet, like I'm looking at you, and it's the same thing, but you see this line, like a timeline jump. And on the bottom of the line had about 2 inches of dark black, and it just shifted itself north. And my daughter went, did you see that, Mum? And I said, yeah, did you see the black line? She goes, I didn't see the black line, but I saw what was going on. And I went, oh, that's a timeline shift. So that shifted that 2 inches of darkness was just zero pointed back to source. And Mayana's experiencing the life that she was supposed to have. So I'd healed a timeline, and I had no idea that I did it, but yeah, I'd done that. So that was crazy. I was like, woohoo! So anyway, I get to Christmas after coming back from Bali. And in that session that I had with Bali, the little pocket rocket healer that I had, she was going back to her hometown in Melbourne, and she was really upset. She was very sad. And I grabbed her, and I'm a big woman, like I'm a big mama, I'm a Venus, big, voluptuous, beautiful, beautifulness. So I grab her, and she's tiny. She's like a little 8-year-old. So I'm grabbing her, and I'm literally cradling her like a baby, and I'm rocking her, and I'm kissing her, and I'm cuddling her and telling her she's safe. And I was like, this is beautiful. So I gave her that as a gift, just to love her, because she loved me and she helped me so much to transmute all of that. It was huge.
Massive.
So I'm lying on the bed, and I go to bed, and my suitcase is on the end of the bed, sort of thing, and I flip over the sheets to get into bed, and I hear this tinkle, 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 and I'm like, what's that? And I'm feeling in the bed, and I find these 5 rose quartz crystal tears, and that was my gift. Spirit had gifted that to me, these 5 rose quartz crystal tears. And I thought they were my friend who'd healed me, but she said, no, Jacqui, they're not mine.
Wow.
And the confirmation of that was to a lady that actually helped me heal a lot. Her name's Odette Linden. She lives down here, and there's so many spiritual healers down here that can help so many people. Like when we do those humanitarian projects, I'm going to be like a network for those projects. Like I'm networking with you for humanity.
Beautiful.
So yeah, there's
Kia ora.
lots going to happen for all of those healing modalities that people can access.
So for the audience who aren't aware, we're part of the Moo movement, and the humanitarian projects are the anchoring of the peace trails all
Yes.
around the world. And
Yeah.
we've already kind of done a little bit of footwork to start with. We went there to anchor the White Rainbow, which was a very sacred moment for us. And we had the confirmation straight after we had our when we were down at the bay where all the whales come in.
Yeah, down at Chains Beach.
Chains Beach, yes, that's
Down at
right.
Albany.
When we finished doing the ceremony, which was a freezing cold day, and
Oh,
oh my gosh, it was like, oh, next level
yeah, it
intense.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, and so straight after that, we got a confirmation of the white rainbow literally being captured in the sky during that
Yeah.
ceremony.
Remember the white, right? The whale that came in. The
And the
cloud formation of the
yes,
whale.
the whale. We didn't actually see any whales that day, but we had the
Ah,
whales form, and we had the
yeah,
diamond form. We
yeah,
also had we found a salmon which was in perfect condition, which was used as part of our altar
yeah,
for our ceremony.
yeah,
And we anchored some big codes there through sound, through joy, through dance. It was very powerful.
yeah.
So we are coming to the end of our connection, sister. So I just wanted you to perhaps share a little bit, the final takeaway for the audience.
Well, the
And
final takeaway I'd give you is feel into yourself and feel through your heart. Because it's fine to have all this spirit giving you this and you going to spirit, but you got to anchor as above, so below. And when you do as above, so below, you then become whole with as above, so below. Your diamond
kia ora.
in the
Ai.
heart. All comes from the heart. And you expand your heart through breath work, through healing. Clear your heart from all the pain and all the suffering. Clear it. You got to do that, or she won't get anywhere. You got to clear that for your ancestors too, because they chose you. Us here, that we've all been chosen by ancestors because we are the best of the best. They have chosen us to transmute all of their wounding that they couldn't, and we have to do this life. That's
Yeah,
what you miss.
well, we won. We won the little competition, which sperm
Yep.
came first into the
Yeah,
ovum.
yeah,
There was like 9 million of us in there,
yeah.
and we
Exactly.
won.
That's it. Yep. So yeah, there's more to my story, and if you want to do another session, I'm very open to that. But yeah, it's quite
Yeah.
amazing. I actually had a yoni healing, which helped me a lot, and I pulled out a lot of wounds from previous lives that were schisms in my auric field, and they were knives. I had to get them out. There's stories behind them. I pulled out a 40 centimeter blade knife out of my yoni that was 200,000 years ago in the Essene massacre.
Wow. And
I had
that's
no idea it was
intense.
there.
Yeah,
Didn't even
yeah.
know it was there. Yeah, that was crazy. And then when I did that, the butterfly effect of having that pulled and from such an old era, 17 generations back, I did with the divination of a pendulum. And, Enoch times, it was telling me, Spirit was saying Enoch times. And I was like, wow. And then I asked Spirit for 3 days after I had that yoni healing, where was this from? When did this happen? Where was this from? When did this happen? And then I wake up on the Monday morning and it says Essene massacre, Essene massacre, Essene massacre. So I look up at www.ascensionglossary.com, and I'd heard about the Essene massacre because my healer that does the body structural work, he is an Essene, and he's the one that connected me to the divine decrees that I do, which is the Lighthouse Summit decrees from America. But yeah, that's what's helped me a lot. Prayer. I don't tend to meditate. I contemplate. But yeah, the divine decrees is what really helps me. And the other thing too was know yourself.
Kia ora.
Go on
Yeah.
to genekeys.com and do your profile and study that.
Yeah.
Because um, one of my foundational gene keys is 61, which is the mystic. So I have a natural way of connecting with spirit. And I have the nomad as well as the guardian, as well as the scientist. They're my 4 pillars.
Wow, sister,
And my
that's
central pillar is 55, which is what we're going into. We're going into the sleeping phoenix. We're going into the phoenix rising, which is 55, which is freedom, from victim to freedom.
is that gene key
Richard Rudd.
of the dragonfly? Is that the
Yes,
dragonfly? Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Which is
And the first painting I ever
metamorphosis.
did was the dragonfly. I hadn't done any painting for 20 years, and I painted a dragonfly. I couldn't believe it. It was just like,
Powerful.
you can't make this stuff up. And having those visions from the sun come in,
Yeah.
I've just got,
Are you doing any offerings or anything along those lines?
Offerings, what do you mean?
Do
Sorry.
are you promoting yourself in any way? Do you
Oh,
do
anyone that
readings?
wants to contact me, my name's Jacqui Knight, as you can see here. Just find me on Facebook. I'll show you
And you
my.
also have a page, a platform that you're doing. So
I
that's
do have a
just,
platform, but it's more of a personal platform. So I try to, I'd rather sort of invite you to that personal platform. And if you want to come to that personal platform, um, just have a look at so this is that's what oh shit.
you can't
Oh,
really
shit.
say it.
I'll share it on Moo. I'll share it on Moo. I'll share it on
Yeah, share
Grandmother's
it on
Corner.
Moo. That's a really good idea.
And I'll share it on there and you'll be able to find me. And then if you just put Moo underneath your name, when you connect with me on my Facebook page, I can join you to my private page. I rather not be public with the things that I do
Yeah.
because it's my personal way, and I'm very unique. I do numerology coding through emojis,
Wow.
which is really crazy. But and I've also invoked the Holy Spirit on every emoji on every electronic system in the world. So it all holds the new Earth frequency codes.
Kia ora. And actually, that's a really good topic, just even that on its own, because there's a lot of people really afraid of AI and
Oh,
technology right
AI,
now.
honestly, it's a tool. It's the same thing as using your birth chart in astrology or going online and having a look at your gene keys on a profile or using breath work. They're all modalities that can help you find you,
Kia
find
ora.
your true self.
Yeah.
Like you can invert it and think AI is going to take over the world. If whatever you thought, where energy flows, it goes.
Yeah.
So you think that, then that's what you're going to
And
create.
if you believe or don't believe, you're right.
Exactly, you'll create it. So, and they're just fears that you've got that stem from root childhood trauma. you
Kia
know.
ora.
So you feel into that, you can transmute all of that. So yeah, it just put Moo underneath your name under my Facebook page. I will join. You can join my White Knight Light page.
Yeah, I get some really good tips and tricks from that
I
page, and
know. I so love
and
you
it's
being there.
and it's so delightful. Yeah, and I've got to say that like when we first met, I didn't realise that I had got quite a lot of publicity on Talos Gold's kind of
Yes.
like stream, and because First Light and First Dreaming coming together was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
And so when we did the peace trail and we came over to Australia, I had no idea that that had gone viral, that
Global. Yes.
and that's how you actually got to meet me, right? It was like,
Yes.
oh, this is the same woman. And
Yes.
so that's how you got to join in on the Blue Diamond journey that we'd taken over there. So,
Yeah, I had some coding that happened in the January, the Delphinius constellation. I activated that through the diamond,
kia
through
ora.
Mary, through the diamond, through Mary, and activated that and just brought coding back into the earth. And the Delphinius constellation in the Bible is actually Job 21:32, which is actually the resurrection. So me
Mm.
activating that then coded everything down on Earth, which is like with star seeds. So we seed the stars here on Earth, and that's why we need to connect with spirit and ground with Earth. And then when we heal all of our woundings, we become the diamond within, which is
Kia
your
ora.
heart.
Yeah, that's,
So,
yeah, we are definitely becoming crystalline diamonds.
oh
This
yeah,
is
I've
what
got
I
a friend
see.
in Melbourne that's like she's burning off so much within her that she's become transparent and she is so white when you look at her and she's standing outside, she's just white. All you can see is these black dots where her orifices are, and that's it. Like she's white as, and she's just transmuting all sorts of things. She had a walk in 21. She had
Wow.
a light code, tall, white being of herself, her higher self, come down and literally step inside her.
And would you say that you're an NDE? You had a walk-in? Do you feel that yours was a walk-in?
I think, yes, I had a walk in because there were fundamental things that I didn't remember as a child. So I think because I realized through a Christmas celebration we had just after I'd gone to Bali, I saw a photo of a family photo and I wasn't in it. And my little sister she was only a baby. She was on my older sister's lap and I wasn't in the photo and I was colouring it in actually as a competition we had with the family for Christmas. And I said to my sister that was sitting next to me, I said, "Where am I?" And she goes, "You were in hospital with mum. You were really sick." And that's when I had this download. That's around the time that he did what he did to you.
Wow.
And then I found out, and then I realized that was when I didn't find out until the following June how old my sister was in that photo. She was only 6 days old. So he he got me because I was left in my grandmother's care. And of course, when my mum had my sister, I was obviously left in his care. And that's when yeah, he did what he did. So, and then a month later, I'm having this lucid dream. There's Yeshua standing there in all his glory. And there's my uncle on his hands and knees, literally bawling his eyes out, begging for forgiveness.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I couldn't look at him in the eye, but I looked at him and I was higher. So I was sort of looking down at him because he was on his hands and knees begging. And I looked at him and I said, "I will not judge you. God will be your judge, but I do forgive you." And I had to forgive him because, we've all been the worst of the worst. We've all done that. We've all been the bad and we've all been the good. So judging someone that's in this lifetime is following the bad stream, that they chose for their soul's growth that path. It doesn't mean they're essentially a bad spirit or a soul. They're just learning that path. So you condemn the darkness, you condemn the dark, then you're condemning the womb of creation. Because
Yeah.
that's where the seed comes from, in the darkness. So you reject that and only have light, then you can't have a balance. You can't balance in the 0 point, in the 5, the hub of the wheel. You can't balance there, which you need to. Walking your path now, you have to balance yourself in the 0 point of all of existence because it's all transmuted back to source. You have to sit in the balance of temperance, as above, so below, pouring the light and the darkness, anchoring it on the earth. Temperance card is the number 14, which is my birth date. Have to have that. If you don't have that, you have an imbalance, and that's where you have more dark than light, and you got to get the balance. You got to try and get it balanced so you can sit in that eye of the needle, sit in the eye of the
Yeah, the
storm.
0 point, infinite
Yes,
fractal.
yes, the G spot. That spot.
We
Yeah.
like that.
So
Oh,
yeah,
well, yeah, thank you so much, sister, for taking the time to share your story and your message. And it's
thanks,
been
Pete.
such a pleasure to connect. And
Yeah,
yeah,
excited.
thank you so, so much.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
as for the forward, us moving all forward, just be in your heart and
kia ora.
stop listening to the babble and all the fear factor and all the craziness of this podcast and that podcast. Feel it in your heart when you read it. If you resonate with it, your heart will show you, your spirit will show you. Don't take it on and
Absolutely.
sit up in your logic. You got to sit in your heart because we're heart-based spirit beings and
I
that's where we're going.
Absolutely. Great message. Thank you so much,
All
sister.
right, thank you.
Mā te wā.
Love you.